Before Netflix, Gary Johnson was your average American dad. He lived a seemingly normal life in a quiet suburban neighborhood. He mowed his lawn, played catch with his kids, and volunteered at the local soup kitchen. Neighbors remember him as a friendly face, always willing to lend a hand. But behind this carefully constructed facade, a dark secret lurked. Gary Johnson lived a double life. While his family slept peacefully in their beds, Johnson was out in the dead of night, carrying out sinister deeds. He was a hitman for hire, a ruthless predator who took lives for a living. The Netflix documentary Hitman thrust Johnson's world into the spotlight, exposing his horrifying crimes to the world. The series quickly climbed the streaming charts, captivating audiences with its chilling tale of betrayal, violence, and dark humor. Viewers were enthralled by Johnson's cold demeanor, his matter-of-fact descriptions of his crimes sending chills down their spines. He became an unlikely media sensation, his face plastered across newspapers and websites. But who was the man behind the myth? What drove a seemingly ordinary man to such extremes? Was it greed, a thirst for power, or something far more sinister? In this article, we delve deep into Gary Johnson's life, peeling back the layers to uncover the truth behind the Netflix sensation. We'll explore his childhood, his relationships, and the pivotal moments that led him down a path of darkness. Join us as we separate fact from fiction and unravel the enigma that is Gary Johnson, the family man turned hitman. To understand Gary Johnson, we must first understand his past. Born and raised in rural Montana, Johnson had a tumultuous childhood. His father, a volatile and abusive man, instilled in him a deep sense of fear and resentment. His mother, struggling to cope with her own demons, offered little solace. Young Gary found refuge in the wilderness, spending hours exploring the vast expanse of the Montana landscape. It was here, amidst the towering trees and rugged mountains, that he developed a detached, almost feral persona. School offered little respite. Gary was a loner, bullied relentlessly for his quiet demeanor and unkempt appearance. He excelled in subjects that piqued his interest, particularly history and strategy, but showed little interest in social interaction. He became withdrawn, retreating further into himself. By the time he graduated high school, Gary Johnson was a shadow of a man, harboring deep-seated anger and resentment towards the world that had wronged him. After high school, Johnson drifted from one dead-end job to another, his simmering rage threatening to boil over. He enlisted in the army, hoping to find purpose and direction. The military provided him with structure and discipline, honing his natural abilities for strategy and combat. He excelled in his training, impressing his superiors with his cold efficiency and unwavering focus. But his time in the army also exposed him to the horrors of war, further desensitizing him to violence. When Johnson returned from service, he was a changed man. The horrors he'd witnessed had left an indelible mark on his psyche. He struggled to reintegrate into civilian life, finding solace only in the company of other veterans. Desperate for money and direction, he fell in with a rough crowd. His skills and military experience made him a valuable asset in the criminal underworld. He started small, running errands and acting as muscle for local gangs. But it wasn't long before Johnson's talents caught the eye of more powerful players. He was recruited by a shadowy organization involved in organized crime. At first he resisted, clinging to the last vestiges of his conscience, but the allure of easy money and the thrill of danger proved too strong to resist. He began taking on more dangerous assignments, his body count steadily rising. With each life he took, Gary Johnson drifted further from the man he once was, transforming into the cold-blooded killer the world would come to know. Johnson's descent into darkness was fueled by a potent cocktail of anger, resentment, and a warped sense of justice. He justified his actions by convincing himself that his victims deserved their fate. They were, in his mind, obstacles to be removed, problems to be solved. He took no pleasure in his work, viewing it as a necessary evil, a means to an end. Yet with each life he took, a part of his humanity withered and died. Life after Hitman, Redemption, or Further Ruin. The Netflix documentary Hitman sent shockwaves through Johnson's world. His carefully constructed life of normalcy crumbled around him. His family, friends, and neighbors were horrified, struggling to reconcile the man they thought they knew with the monster depicted on their screens. Johnson became a pariah, ostracized by the very community he'd once called home. He retreated further into himself, haunted by the consequences of his actions. Some viewers, however, found themselves strangely drawn to Johnson's story. They were captivated by his cold demeanor, his matter-of-fact descriptions of his crimes, both chilling and strangely compelling. A morbid fascination with the macabre led to a surge in popularity for Johnson. He received fan mail, interview requests, and even marriage proposals from admirers who saw him as a tragic anti-hero. This unexpected notoriety only served to further complicate Johnson's already tumultuous existence. The release of Hitman sparked a heated debate about the ethics of true crime entertainment. Critics argued that the series glorified violence and exploited the victims of Johnson's crimes. Supporters countered that the documentary provided a valuable glimpse into the mind of a killer, offering insights into the dark underbelly of society. Lost in the fray was Gary Johnson himself, a man grappling with the consequences of his past and the weight of his newfound notoriety. The verdict separating fact from fiction. The Netflix series Hitman undoubtedly captivated audiences worldwide, thrusting the life of Gary Johnson into the spotlight. But how much of the show was truth, and how much was fabricated for entertainment? While the series accurately depicted the crimes Johnson committed, it often blurred the lines between fact and fiction, sensationalizing events to heighten the drama. Johnson's stoic demeanor and deadpan delivery, while chillingly authentic, were often amplified for effect, further cementing his image as a cold-blooded killer. The series also failed to adequately explore the complex factors that contributed to Johnson's descent into darkness. His abusive childhood, his struggles with PTSD, and the systemic failures that led him down a path of crime were glossed over in favor of a more simplistic narrative. This is not to excuse Johnson's actions, but rather to acknowledge that the truth is rarely black and white. In the end, Gary Johnson remains an enigma. He is a man forever defined by his past, haunted by the consequences of his actions. The Netflix series Hitman may have brought his story to light, but it also perpetuated harmful stereotypes about criminals and mental illness. It is our responsibility as viewers to look beyond the sensationalism and engage in a more nuanced conversation about the complexities of crime, punishment, and redemption. Only then can we hope to understand the true story behind Hitman and its lasting impact on both Gary Johnson and the world that both created and condemned him.